Good afternoon. I'm Hoyt. Glad you could be with us here as we start your Monday afternoon. Here are some of the top stories we are following for you today. It has been a hot and dry couple of months in Arkansas, and the entire state is on a high risk for wildfires. We'll take a look at the counties that are putting burn bans in place. And the cleanup continues in Fort Myers Beach, Florida, one of the hardest hit areas left by Hurricane Ian. We'll have a closer look at how some plan to get their lives back together there. Plus, there are a couple of high-profile cases involving Arkansas today before the country's highest court. We'll tell you about them and the historic day in D.C. But we've got some local updates we need to pass along to you. Little Rock police say a 40-year-old man is dead in the city's latest homicide. It happened Sunday afternoon, just after 5 o'clock. Officers responding to a home on Greencrest Drive, that's near Colonel Glenn and South University, because someone reported a fight and gunshots. The victim, whose name has not yet been released, showed up at a hospital where he later died. Among the loose ends, police have to tie up for us this afternoon the exact shooting location, that victim's ID, and a possible suspect. We'll pass those along when they do. A Little Rock police officer himself turned himself into Benton Police this morning after a judge there issued a warrant for his arrest. The Little Rock Department announcing that Officer Terry McDaniel is already on administrative leave. We're still waiting to hear from Benton what exactly the 12-year veteran officer is charged with. McDaniel has yet to show up on the Saline County jail roster. Staying in Saline County, a 32-year-old Benton man in custody charged with nearly 1,000 counts of child porn possession. Saline County authorities took Ethan Robert Clark into custody Friday following an investigation with their Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Clark remains held without bond, charged with 940 felony counts of possessing, distributing, or viewing sexually explicit material involving a child. Meanwhile, a Jefferson County jailer remains behind bars after his arrest for smuggling contraband to inmates. 22-year-old Joshua Brown, a deputy in the adult detention center, arrested by his colleagues when he arrived for his shift on Friday. The sheriff said Brown planned to deliver drugs, cigarettes, cell phones, and chargers to a detainee inside. We're still waiting to hear exactly what charges he will face. All right, now we've got meteorologist Nathan Scott joining us. Hot, dry conditions out there. I mean, they're wonderful weather-wise, but they have some danger elements with all the fire danger out there right now.
Rolly, good afternoon. Yeah, we've got a drought in place. The grass is turning brown, it's turning crunchy, and also low humidity, a little bit of a breeze. All those ingredients are coming together for the enhanced danger of wildfires. So don't burn. Look here in Central Arkansas. All of us are under a burn ban now. The newest county, Saline County, also Lonoke County are under burn bans. Absolutely no burning is allowed whatsoever. And as we take a look at the fire risk forecast, this is the breakdown when we take a look at the relative humidity, because less moisture in the atmosphere leads to a better chance of those fires igniting. And look at your Wednesday and Thursday. I've got it at a high forecast right now, but it's going to stay medium to high all the way through early next week. Out there right now, it's beautiful weather-wise. We got lots of blue sky. Temperatures are warming up into the mid to upper 70s. 80 in DeQueen, it's 77 in El Dorado, 74 in Stuttgart. Highs today will top out into the low to mid 80s, but these temperatures will continue to climb as we go into the latter part of the work week. Some places could reach 90 degrees. I'll have more on that coming up.
All right, Nathan. Yeah, we want to go back and show you that map again that he just brought up, because there are a couple of new counties that came on just this morning as putting a burn ban in place. One of those, Saline County, that just came aboard with that announcement within the last hour. And the number of counties under burn bans has nearly tripled all in the last week. That's the map right now. No burning in 46 counties, all issued by, according to the Arkansas Forestry Commission. Saline County joining folks all over western, central, and southern Arkansas, including Lonoke and Pope counties, who also joined that list early this morning. And even in counties that are not under a burn ban, some of those places out there, outdoor burning is dangerous. You can see the entire state is under a high wildfire danger because of this lack of rain, and this is expected to get even worse over the next week. More dry weather, as you just heard from Nathan, is in the forecast. But Different story down in Florida, where the death toll there from Hurricane Ian has now gone past 80 and will probably continue to go higher as people search for survivors and victims. As Chris Hoffman reports, more than 600,000 remain without power after last week's devastating storm, and there's more flooding in some parts of the state.
As cleanup efforts continue in Fort Myers, Florida, residents are still coming to terms with the massive damage that Hurricane Ian inflicted.
Kitchen's got to come out, the bathrooms are all got to come out. It's a complete redo.
I was just devastated seeing what was happening to the property. It was hard to comprehend.
Before and after satellite images show the scope of the destruction.
From here on out, we're just going to exist.
I feel like we're existing, but we're really not living. Our life is right there.
Hundreds of thousands of people are still without power.
Rest assured, they are working hard to get those lights back on.
Fuel and water remain in short supply. State officials are now defending the timing of evacuation orders in the Fort Myers area that some say didn't come soon enough.
It was a situation where those folks at the local level, as that storm started to shift, then they took that data and then they acted appropriately.
The destruction is still everywhere in Fort Myers Beach, Florida, from boats landing on buildings to other structures just left as rubble.
I fell off the roof over there, and one guy almost cut his thumb off, but everybody made it through. Everybody made it through okay.
Sean Shelton rode out the storm on a shrimp boat, which is now in a pile of debris with other boats on Fort Myers Beach.
Where do you even begin to pick up the peak after this? Where do you even start?
I don't know. We're having a meeting. We're going to try to figure out what we're all going to do.
In some parts of Florida, the danger from flooding isn't over.
I can't get out, and I prayed. That's all I know how to do is pray.
Homes are flooded in Deltona, in the central part of Florida, and there's a voluntary evacuation in St. Cloud as water levels continue to rise. Chris Hoffman, CBS News, Fort Myers, Florida.
And President Joe Biden plans to tour the damage in Florida on Wednesday. He's right now in Puerto Rico surveying the damage from Hurricane Fiona, where tens of thousands of people are still without power 2 weeks after the storm hit there. To D.C. now, the Supreme Court will hear arguments in a lawsuit involving Arkansas. We first told you last week that the Attorney General's office is suing the state of Delaware, alleging that it illegally kept millions of dollars from unclaimed money transfers. This is all first uncovered by the state auditor's office, and it led to the lawsuit originally filed in 2016.
We think that this is a very important case that has united a 30-state coalition to sue Delaware in the Supreme Court over an important issue for the state coffers and for the state's rights against each other.
Now, we'll tell you in just a second, this is among the first cases that will be argued before the Supreme Court as it opened its new session this morning. But it's not the only case, big lawsuit involving Arkansas. We first told you last week that Attorney General Leslie Rutledge is also suing the Biden administration to block the president's plan to forgive student loan debt. 5 other Republican-led states are also involved in this suit. They claim the president doesn't have the power to forgive up to $20,000 in loan payments. The application process for the student debt relief program is still set to begin sometime this month. The exact date has not yet been announced. But that case will be in district court in Missouri. Now, as we mentioned, all eyes today are on the Supreme Court as the justices meet for the first time with a black female justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, on the panel. Conservatives still appear to be in control as they return from a watershed session that ended last summer. As Skylar Henry reports, more major decisions could come this year concerning environmental laws, affirmative action, voting, and LGBT rights.
The Supreme Court's new term is now underway. The justices began with a case challenging the EPA's authority to regulate wetlands under the Clean Water Act. Many environmentalists are bracing for a decision similar to one from June, when the court limited the agency's ability to reduce the output of power plants. The court has also agreed to hear cases involving voting rights, including one that could give state legislatures near total control over elections, including those for federal offices. Also on the docket is a case revisiting race as a factor in college admissions. Another case involves a Colorado web designer who refuses to build websites for same-sex couples. Both cases could upend decades-old precedents and practices. Many observers believe the Supreme Court's 6-3 conservative supermajority will continue to push the country further to the right, following last summer's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The court's liberal bloc now includes Associate Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. President Biden appointed her to replace retiring Justice Stephen Breyer. Jackson is the first African-American woman to serve on the bench of the nation's highest court. It's also the first time in history that the court has had 4 female justices. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
A subway station in Taiwan is getting a fresh new look. How they're putting sustainability first. Coming up after the break. And Nathan?
Rolly, we got lots of sunshine out there. It's going to be a beautiful start to the new work week, but we could use some rain. And looking at the extended forecast, the chance is pretty slim. I'll talk more about that and also a significant cool down later this week coming up.